The power of spiritual enlightenment. Author Shri Rajeev Thatte. We found from UDCT and MMS Finance from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, Mumbai. About the author. Shri Rajeev Thatte is a first generation entrepreneur. Started his pharmaceutical manufacturing unit in Mumbai in 1981, 44 years back. Shri Rajeev has manufactured coconut oil, refined coconut oil, spices and Ayurvedic medicines for reputed brands in India. Simultaneously, he started writing in media and publications and became a popular author. Shri Rajeev started his Facebook pages and YouTube channel Enjoy Happiness. This has got over 1 lakh subscribers in last 1 year. Few years back, Shri Rajeev had a car accident leading to skull fracture, then epileptic fits, paralysis, and rectal cancer and tuberculosis. After so many calamities he had faced, he donated his kidney to his widowed wife Sandhya. In these ailments and sufferings, Shri Rajeev kept on moving on the path he had chosen with determination in his happy and cheerful life. Mr. Rajeev is now 67 years old and is moving all over the world, giving lectures, spreading love, kindness, happiness and mindfulness in all the humanity.
The Power of Spiritual Enlightenment. Part 8. All problems are illusions of the mind. In the grand scheme of life, most of the problems we face are not as real or as insurmountable as we often believe them to be. Instead, they are constructs of the mind, shaped by our perceptions, interpretations, and emotional reactions. These problems are often reflections of the mind's tendency to create distress, worry, and anxiety where none may exist inherently. Understanding that all problems are illusions of the mind is a powerful realization that can lead to greater peace, clarity, and freedom. The nature of the mind and its illusions. The mind is an incredible tool, capable of rational thinking, creativity, and decision-making. However, it also has the ability to create distortions, false beliefs, exaggerated fears, and imagined worst-case scenarios. These mental constructs can make challenges appear much bigger than they really are. Our mind takes the present moment, adds its own judgments, filters, and past experiences, and then projects them into the future as problems. For example, if you are facing a difficult situation at work, your mind might blow the issue out of proportion, convincing you that this problem will define your future or ruin your career. In reality, the situation might just be temporary, and its true impact could be minimal once you gain perspective. The mind's tendency to create problems. The mind is constantly processing information and seeking patterns, but often, it jumps to conclusions that aren't grounded in reality. This tendency to create problems is fueled by fear of the unknown. When we face uncertainty, the mind imagines negative outcomes, even though these outcomes may never come to pass. This fear of the unknown leads to unnecessary worry. Past experiences, our memories of past failures or hurts can color how we perceive current situations. The mind can convince us that because something went wrong in the past, it will surely go wrong again. Attachment to outcomes, the more we cling to specific results, the more the mind stresses over anything that deviates from those expectations. When things don't go according to plan, the mind amplifies the sense of problem. The need for control, the mind craves control over every aspect of life. When things don't unfold as planned, the mind interprets this as a problem, even though life is inherently fluid and uncontrollable. Problems versus reality. Problems, as we perceive them, often only exist in our thoughts and emotions. In reality, life itself is neutral. It is neither good nor bad, it just is. The situation at hand is not inherently a problem. It is how we think about it, react to it, and attach meaning to it that creates suffering. For example, losing a job might be seen as a major setback, but in reality, it can also open doors to new opportunities or self-discovery. The problem is not the job loss, but our attachment to the idea that our worth is tied to a particular position. The power of perception. Our perception shapes our reality. Two people can face the same circumstance, say, a financial loss, and one may perceive it as a catastrophe, while the other sees it as an opportunity to reassess their priorities and create a new path forward. The difference lies in how the mind interprets the event. This realization empowers us to recognize that we are not bound by our initial emotional reactions or thoughts. We can change how we perceive situations and, in doing so, change our experience of those situations. The role of mindfulness in dissolving illusions. Mindfulness is the practice of becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions in the present moment. By observing these thoughts without judgment, you can create distance from them and begin to see them for what they truly are, transitory mental patterns rather than facts. When we practice mindfulness, we shift from reacting to life with emotional turbulence to responding with clarity and calm. We learn that the thoughts that create problems are temporary and do not define us. In this space, we can let go of the attachment to our fears and anxieties, seeing them as the illusions they truly are. The freedom in realizing that problems are illusions. When you understand that problems are not objective truths but mental projections, you experience a sense of liberation. Instead of being overwhelmed by the weight of a problem, you begin to approach life with a sense of equanimity, a calm, balanced mind that is not disturbed by external circumstances. This awareness allows you to face challenges with greater resilience and creativity. Instead of succumbing to stress, you start to ask the right questions. What can I learn from this situation? Or, how can I grow from this? The realization that problems are mere illusions of the mind opens up a pathway to inner peace and acceptance, regardless of external circumstances. Conclusion: releasing the illusion of problems. Understanding that all problems are illusions created by the mind is not a call to ignore real issues or responsibilities, but rather to approach them from a place of clarity and calm. By letting go of unnecessary worry, fear, and attachment, we free ourselves from the mental prison that makes problems appear larger than life. When we approach life with a more mindful and balanced perspective, we realize that most of the challenges we face are not the true problems, they are opportunities for growth, change, and transformation. Ultimately, life is not the problem. It is the mind's interpretation of life that creates problems. By shifting our perspective and becoming aware of the mind's illusions, we reclaim our power and step into a life of greater peace, freedom, and clarity. A quantum leap in the evolution of consciousness. Consciousness, in its most profound sense, is the very essence of who we are. It is the awareness that allows us to experience life, observe thoughts, and connect with the world around us. The evolution of consciousness refers to the gradual transformation in how we perceive ourselves, the universe, and our place within it. While human consciousness has been evolving for millennia, we are now on the verge of a quantum leap, a transformative shift that could elevate us to new levels of awareness, understanding, and spiritual insight. The nature of consciousness, a journey of awakening. At its core, consciousness is not simply about intellectual knowledge or sensory experience, but about an awakening to deeper layers of reality. Traditionally, we have understood consciousness in terms of individual awareness, the I that experiences thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. However, the quantum leap in consciousness refers to a shift beyond individual awareness to a more collective, interconnected, and universal state of being. In the past, human consciousness has evolved through different stages, shifting from primal instincts to self-awareness, to the complex understanding of concepts such as morality, relationships, and spirituality. Yet, despite this growth, many individuals still operate from a limited perspective, trapped in the egoic mind or driven by material desires and fear. What is a quantum leap in consciousness? A quantum leap in consciousness goes beyond incremental, linear progress. It signifies a radical shift, a profound leap to an entirely new dimension of awareness. Just as quantum physics revealed that the behavior of particles can change instantaneously, quantum leap in consciousness represents a moment where our perception of reality can shift in an instant, leading to an entirely new way of understanding the world. This leap transcends the boundaries of ego, conditioning, and mental constructs. It is not merely a mental exercise, but a deep spiritual awakening that connects us with the divine essence within us all. It is a shift towards recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings, the understanding that we are not separate entities but part of a greater whole. The path leading to a quantum leap. There are several key shifts that are taking place on both an individual and collective level that are pointing toward a quantum leap in consciousness. Awakening to the present moment. One of the most significant aspects of this leap is an awareness of the present moment, a state of mindfulness and presence. Instead of dwelling in the past or worrying about the future, individuals are learning to be fully immersed in the now. This profound realization is a major catalyst for transformation, as it allows people to break free from the grip of their past conditioning. Transcending the ego is the mind's sense of self, built upon identities, roles, and stories. The quantum leap involves transcending the ego's limited perspective, realizing that we are not our thoughts, our fears, or our successes. We are more than the story we tell ourselves. By detaching from egoic attachments, individuals are able to connect with a deeper, universal sense of self. Spiritual awakening. People around the world are undergoing deep spiritual awakenings, often through meditation, prayer, and introspection. These experiences allow individuals to experience a profound sense of oneness with the universe and feel connected to a higher consciousness. This new sense of spirituality is not tied to any specific religion, but is an open-ended journey toward inner truth and universal love. Scientific understanding and spirituality. Interestingly, many of the advances in modern science, particularly in quantum physics, neuroscience, and cosmology, are beginning to converge with ancient spiritual wisdom. Concepts such as the interconnectedness of all things and the idea that consciousness plays a role in shaping reality are no longer seen as purely mystical beliefs but are being validated by scientific inquiry. The intersection of science and spirituality is creating a fertile ground for a collective shift in consciousness. Collective consciousness. The quantum leap in consciousness is not just an individual experience, it is a global phenomenon. As more people awaken to their true nature, the collective consciousness is shifting. This is evident in movements for social justice, environmental sustainability, and spiritual communities. As more individuals align with the principles of love, compassion, and interconnectedness, the collective consciousness rises to new heights. How the quantum leap affects our lives. When individuals experience a quantum leap in their consciousness, their entire worldview transforms. They no longer see themselves as separate from others, but as part of an interconnected web of life. This new awareness leads to profound changes in how people live their lives. Some of these changes include increased compassion. With the realization of interconnectedness, individuals begin to feel empathy for others, recognizing that their actions impact the whole. This leads to greater compassion and a desire to contribute positively to the world. Inner peace. As people let go of their attachments to material possessions, status, and egoic desires, they find an inner sense of peace and contentment. They understand that true happiness does not come from external sources, but from within. Creativity and innovation. With a broader perspective on reality, people become more creative, innovative, and open-minded. They are able to see possibilities that were previously hidden, allowing them to contribute to solutions for global challenges. Healing and wholeness. As individuals connect with a deeper sense of self, they are able to heal emotional wounds and transcend limiting beliefs. The shift in consciousness brings about physical, mental, and emotional healing, leading to a greater sense of wholeness. The role of meditation and mindfulness. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools to facilitate a quantum leap in consciousness. Through practices like mindfulness meditation, individuals are able to quiet the mental chatter, dissolve the egoic mind, and experience a profound connection with the present moment. This helps them access higher states of awareness and tap into their inner wisdom. Mindfulness also allows individuals to observe their thoughts without attachment, enabling them to break free from the habitual thought patterns that keep them stuck in limiting beliefs. As they move deeper into their awareness, they are able to access the truth of who they really are, pure consciousness. Conclusion: embracing the shift. The quantum leap in consciousness is not a distant ideal, but a real and ongoing shift that is already happening. As individuals, societies, and even the world itself begins to awaken, we will see a profound transformation in how we perceive life, how we relate to one another, and how we approach challenges. This shift is not just about individual enlightenment, it is about creating a collective awakening, one where humanity recognizes its interconnectedness, transcends its limitations, and steps into a new era of peace, compassion, and unity. The quantum leap in consciousness is the next great evolution of humanity, and it is within our reach. All we need to do is awaken to the truth that lies within us and embrace the present moment fully. The joy of being. The concept of the joy of being is a deep and profound realization that transcends the material pursuits of life and focuses on experiencing life itself with full awareness and presence. It refers to an inner state of peace, contentment, and fulfillment that arises when we stop seeking happiness externally and instead turn inward to embrace the present moment as it is. Understanding the joy of being. In today's fast-paced world, we often find ourselves chasing after external achievements, material possessions, and the approval of others in an attempt to find joy. But despite our best efforts, true joy often remains elusive. The underlying reason is that happiness derived from external circumstances is temporary. It is conditional, fleeting, and always dependent on factors beyond our control. On the other hand, the joy of being is not based on anything external, it is a state of being rather than doing. It arises when we embrace the present moment with acceptance, when we stop identifying with our thoughts, fears, and desires, and when we align ourselves with the stillness that exists within us. This state of being is often described as inner peace or self-realization. Living in the present moment. The key to unlocking the joy of being is the present moment. The past is gone, and the future is unknown, both are outside of our immediate control. The present moment is the only time that truly exists. When we become fully present in whatever we are doing, whether it is a simple task or a profound experience, we enter a state of mindfulness that connects us with the joy of life itself. In the present moment, there are no worries about the future or regrets about the past. There is only the experience of now, the pure awareness of the sensations, feelings, and thoughts that arise within us, without attachment or judgment. In this state, we become aware that joy is always available, and it doesn't need to be earned or sought after. It simply is. The role of acceptance. The joy of being is closely tied to acceptance. Acceptance does not mean resignation, but rather it refers to fully embracing what is, without resistance. Life may present challenges, hardships, and discomfort, but when we approach these experiences with acceptance, we find a sense of peace even amidst difficulty. Resistance to what is a major source of suffering, while acceptance brings freedom. Acceptance allows us to see life as it truly is, without trying to mold it into something it is not. It frees us from the constant craving for control, perfection, and validation. This release of resistance opens the door to inner joy, a joy that does not depend on circumstances. The power of stillness. The joy of being often arises when we cultivate stillness in our minds. In a world where our attention is pulled in a million directions, it is easy to become distracted by noise, stress, and thoughts that constantly demand our focus. But in stillness, we reconnect with the core of our being. We can experience a sense of peace that is undisturbed by external events. Stillness does not mean passivity or inaction. Instead, it is an inner state of tranquility where we become aware of the deeper layers of existence. It is in this space of stillness that joy arises spontaneously, as it allows us to experience life without judgment or interference. Letting go of egoic attachments. Another vital component of the joy of being is letting go of the ego, the mind's tendency to identify with external things like status, achievements, possessions, or even thoughts and emotions. The ego is always trying to protect itself and cling to whatever it thinks defines who we are. However, these attachments create limitations and prevent us from experiencing the joy that is inherent in simply being. By detaching from the ego and allowing ourselves to be fully present in the moment, we experience a deep sense of freedom. We no longer feel compelled to constantly do or achieve in order to feel worthy. In this space, joy flows effortlessly, as it is no longer contingent on external validations or successes. Gratitude and contentment. Gratitude plays a significant role in cultivating the joy of being. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what is lacking in our lives to what is abundant. We begin to appreciate the small things, the warm sunlight, the sound of birds, a kind gesture from a stranger, or the feeling of deep relaxation. Gratitude allows us to appreciate the beauty and richness of the present moment. Contentment is another key aspect of this joy. Contentment is about accepting where we are right now, without feeling the need to constantly seek more. It is about recognizing that true happiness does not lie in external achievements, but in being at peace with ourselves and our circumstances. Embracing the natural flow of life. The joy of being comes when we stop resisting the natural flow of life and begin to trust the unfolding of our experiences. Life is full of ups and downs, joys and sorrows, and while we may not always be able to control the events that come our way, we can control how we respond to them. By embracing the flow of life without clinging to expectations, we create space for joy to emerge naturally. This doesn't mean that we abandon our desires, goals, or dreams. Rather, it means letting go of the need to control the outcome and trusting that life has its own rhythm and timing. By surrendering to life's flow, we find a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. The path to everlasting joy. The joy of being is not a destination, but a practice, a continuous journey of deepening our awareness and presence. It is something we can experience in every moment, regardless of the external circumstances. As we become more attuned to the present moment, cultivate acceptance, let go of egoic attachments, and embrace stillness, we unlock the joy that has always been within us. In conclusion, the joy of being is the awareness that life itself is the gift. It is not something we need to chase, nor is it found in the future. It exists here and now, in the simple experience of being alive, in our ability to be present, and in our deep connection to the world around us. The more we embrace this truth, the more we align with the ever-present joy that is available to all of us. Mind strategies for avoiding the now. The human mind is an extraordinary tool for problem solving and creativity, but it also has a tendency to avoid the present moment. This avoidance is deeply rooted in the ego and its attachment to past and future, which serves as a defense mechanism for maintaining its control over our perception. By constantly pulling us out of the now, the mind traps us in cycles of regret, anxiety, and dissatisfaction, preventing us from accessing the peace and clarity that come with presence. Here are some common mind strategies for avoiding the now, along with how they function. 1. Dwelling on the past. One of the mind's most common tricks is to keep us stuck in memories of the past. This can take the form of regret, focusing on mistakes or missed opportunities; resentment, holding on to grudges or reliving painful experiences; nostalgia, yearning for better times that are no longer accessible. The mind uses the past to create a false identity, convincing us that we are what has happened to us. This identification with past events distracts us from the reality of the present moment and keeps us locked in patterns of emotional pain. 2. Worrying about the future. The mind is equally adept at projecting us into an imagined future, which often manifests as anxiety, anticipating negative outcomes or catastrophes; hope, over-focusing on achieving goals or dreams, expecting future happiness to solve present discontent; planning, obsessively strategizing, even for minor events, in an attempt to control the uncontrollable. By fixating on the future, the mind creates an illusion of control while simultaneously robbing us of the only moment we ever truly have, the now. 3. Overthinking and analysis. The mind avoids presence by keeping us trapped in endless thought loops. Overthinking manifests as analyzing situations excessively to find a perfect solution, judging ourselves or others, creating mental narratives about what should or should not be. Internal debates, where the mind replays scenarios to justify its position. This hyperactive thinking takes us out of the present and disconnects us from our direct experience of reality. 4. Distraction through activities. The mind often avoids the now by encouraging constant busyness. Overworking, filling every moment with tasks to avoid stillness. Entertainment addiction, seeking distraction through TV, social media, or video games. Social obligations, keeping oneself surrounded by people and events to avoid introspection. While these activities may seem harmless, they serve as barriers to experiencing the present moment. 5. Identification with problems. The mind loves to create and attach itself to problems. Victim mentality, identifying with life's difficulties to gain a sense of self. Chronic dissatisfaction, focusing on what's wrong with life instead of appreciating what is. Emotional drama, amplifying conflicts to reinforce a sense of importance. The ego thrives on these problems because they provide a sense of identity and purpose, even if they bring pain. 6. Seeking fulfillment outside. The mind convinces us that happiness lies in external achievements or possessions. Materialism, believing that acquiring more things will bring lasting joy. Relationships, depending on others to complete or validate us. Accomplishments, tying self-worth to career or societal success. This perpetual search for fulfillment outside the self keeps us chasing illusions instead of recognizing that true contentment is already within us. 7. Resistance to what is. The mind avoids the now by resisting the present moment, labeling it as unacceptable or inadequate. Complaining, mentally rejecting the current situation. Blaming, shifting responsibility onto others or external circumstances. Resisting emotions, suppressing feelings like sadness or anger instead of allowing them to arise and pass. This resistance creates inner turmoil and prevents us from fully embracing life as it unfolds. How to overcome these strategies? Awareness is the antidote to the mind's avoidance tactics. By observing the mind without judgment, we can break free from its grip and reconnect with the present moment. Here's how. Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your breath, bodily sensations, or surroundings to anchor yourself in the now. Let go of judgment, accept thoughts and emotions as they arise, without labeling them as good or bad. Observe the mind, notice its strategies without identifying with them. Remember, you are the awareness behind the thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. Cultivate gratitude, focus on what's good in the present moment, no matter how small. By recognizing and overcoming these strategies, we can access the peace, joy, and clarity that are always available in the present moment. The now is not just a point in time, it is the gateway to true freedom and enlightenment.